Welcome back to another video, and in today's video we're talking about why I moved. I keep pointing, I don't know why. Why I moved to Austin, Texas. 1 year recap living in Austin, Texas. This is 365 days later.
Look at me go, look at me flex, this not a plane, more like a jet. I heard the song, we impressed, then she heard me, now she undressed. To make it all worse, I got a check. You want a verse, double the check. I wanted this, then I got this, so when I want that, I'ma get that. This how I look when you threaten.
What are you drinking right there, man?
You already know the deal, baby. Black coffee. Shout out to Super Coffee. Positive energy only, dog.
The Yeti mug is sick though.
This is a sick mug. I like the white too. It's just clean, dog. It's clean.
How is this year's Austin Marathon compared to last year's, from prepping for it, doing the race, and mindset after?
Yeah, the Austin Marathon this year, it was actually much more of a challenge for me this year. It was interesting because like last year I ran 305, this year I ran 317, and this was one of the first marathons where I felt like I was like, oh shit, I cramped at the end. I had to walk and jog. I really got humbled, honestly. And I think part of me, last year when I ran Austin, I had not really ran in the city. I had just moved to Austin. So I kind of went into it like not having any idea that it was hilly, not having any idea that it was like a tough course. I just kind of was like, you know what? I'm gonna try to PR. I wanted to run sub 3, I ran 305, which is a really respectable time actually. Austin is no freaking joke. Like dude, the hills are humbling to say the least. And honestly for me, I came in this year at 90 minutes at the half marathon and I thought I was on a really good pace, but towards the end, dude, I just got super dehydrated. I had a little bit of Achilles tendonitis, which I was dealing with. So it made this time around a little bit tougher. We're at 22 right now. I'm walking a little bit. Achilles is super tender. We're gonna walk, jog, finish this shit.
What was different about the prep before?
Last year, I prepped for Austin as if I was only gonna run Austin. This year, I literally ran Houston 4 weeks ago. So the past 4 weeks, I wasn't really able to get into like a proper marathon prep. I would typically go through an 8 or 12 week training prep for a marathon, but this time in Austin, dude, I kind of was just like, I wanna run it. I wanna run with Super Coffee. I wanted to kind of wing it. So I didn't come in as fully trained as I would have liked, but we still ripped it, dude. Fucking full body cramps right now. Honestly, I was feeling sorry for myself those last couple miles. I had to walk, jog, walk, jog. I kicked it up too strong. 130 at the half, we're finished. We're freaking finished, baby.
I mean, what would you say the best part about this year's marathon was though?
I think the best part this year was like me being able to be part of the community. Last year, I kind of ran it not knowing anyone. I was still new to the city. I hadn't really made any friendships or relationships at that point because I literally moved to Austin on the 10th of February and then I ran on the 20th. So I didn't have much time to really build that community, and this time around, I got to run with Super Coffee and the DeSico brothers with all day running. Obviously got to support Devin and what he was doing with the charity chaser. It was awesome to be part of the community and not it being like just a PR for Matt Choi. Getting to be part of the Austin Marathon. Like, you know, Jack Murray giving me, myself, my media team access for VIP and all those things. Like we went about it the proper ways. And it was awesome that 1 year anniversary of like, oh shit, not knowing anyone a year ago. And then now this year, 365 days later, like having this full community to really build and run it with. I'm running 28 miles on my 28th birthday.
Why did you run an extra 1.8 miles? Because like you literally ran extra miles that could have been an energy saver.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely can be. And when I ran my first marathon on my 26th birthday, it was in 2021. And I told myself that every single year, however old I turn, that's how many miles that I wanna run. And part of that is just that constant pursuit of like, just trying to improve. When I ran my first marathon, I didn't want that to just be like the asterisk of, oh, I ran it one time, I'm good, I've done it before. I wanna continue to challenge myself and push myself outside of my comfort zone. Like it's easy to run a marathon and say that you've done it before, but can you keep doing it? Can you keep challenging yourself? Just like the man that we met that ran his 262nd marathon at 72 years old. And that's my journey, man. I wanna continue to push myself and see what I'm capable of doing. So I told myself that I wanna run the same amount of miles as I turned that year. This year, being my 28th birthday in February, I wanted to run 28 miles. So obviously the marathon is 26.2. So I had this idea, like, let's run from my apartment. And it's roughly 2 miles, so we obviously started a little bit closer, but we got the 1.8 in before the marathon.
If you were to sum up in a word or a sentence of what you're winning in Austin, what would that be?
I think the 1 year in Austin, like, thought I have is just investing in yourself. I didn't know many people when I first moved to Austin. I wanted to push myself outside of my comfort zone. And I was doing that physically and mentally with a lot of challenges and things I was doing when I was living in Maryland. But I wanted to prove to myself that like I could do that again, but something more on like a lifestyle approach, right? Like it's scary moving to a city where you don't know anyone, when you don't have friends, when you don't have any connections, when you don't have a network. A lot of people don't make that leap or that jump of faith on themselves because they're scared of having to make friends or having to fit in and all these things. And I think the biggest thing I learned about living here for a year and just moving to an area that's brand new is that when you invest in yourself, there's no asset that is more important. And that's the biggest lesson I've learned, is that through the process of doubling down on myself and who I am as a person, I've now created the network. I've now created friendships and relationships. I've now developed my business, in addition to just developing my own mindset and still challenging myself physically, mentally, and spiritually to be the best version of who I am. And that's the biggest lesson I've learned. And I think the year being here, it's solidified it even more for me, that by doubling down on yourself, by investing in who you are as a human and always trying to grow, that is the true formula for success.
Were there any difficult parts in your content journey when you moved here?
For sure. I mean, I don't think anyone's journey of creating content or business or anything that you do in life is just this linear path of progression. Like, there's a lot of ups and downs in someone's journey. And even for me, like at first, one, finding the right network, finding the right friends and the relationships that I was trying to cultivate and trying to curate. And some of that is you have to put yourself in environments that are different. Running clubs, gyms, one, just stepping out of your comfort, right? Like going and meeting people. And you need to put yourself in opportunities to get lucky. And there's this Nipsey Hussle quote of when opportunity meets preparation. And I'm a firm believer of that. And when you put yourself in enough environments and you are, one, showing up as the best version of yourself, it's very easy to cultivate those relationships. There was a bunch of opportunities for me when I first moved here because I was in a new environment. And I think at times when I've started to grow and my social media platform started to grow, the biggest lesson for me was saying yes and no to the right things. And I think as my time gets more valuable and my time gets more scarce, you can't just say yes to everything. And I think that there's moments there where you have to just be smart with what you want to say yes and no to. And I think on this rise of content and on this rise of business, I've realized that like you have to separate what's a distraction and what's an opportunity. And I think that's one of the biggest lessons I learned from a mentor of mine, Jeremy Hills. He told me, he said, Matt, you're in that space where everyone wants your attention. Everyone wants your time. Everyone's gonna want you to do that collab or come on their podcast, X, Y, and Z. And you need to separate what's an opportunity and what's a distraction. Because at times, the distraction might seem like an opportunity. And the same thing could be said about the opposite of it, right? An opportunity might look like an opportunity, but it could be a distraction. And you need to be able to judge what is what. And at the same time, not be hard on yourself if you do get distracted. Because at the end of the day, if you're patient enough along this process, saying no or saying yes to that thing is not gonna be the make or break on your career. So I think if you can separate what's an opportunity and what's a distraction and not be too hard on yourself along that process, you'll see a lot of success.
And most of the people who see you on social media, they see you probably as this extremely extroverted person. But when you first got here, did you feel like you had to push a little bit more in that extroverted balance of yourself?
I think a lot of people have this illusion that I am this extroverted person, but in reality, I've just done a really good job of sharpening both ends of the spectrum of being an introvert and an extrovert. I love my solitude more than most people can imagine on their own time. And that's where I'm able to be clear in my own thoughts and show up for other people and do all the things that I do on social. Like if I did not spend time on myself, if I did not spend time to develop my own inner peace and solitude and all of that, all of those things, I wouldn't be able to show up and be the person I am when I'm in those events, in community and all of those things. So there was a mixture. If you're only introverted and you never put yourself out there to go meet people, then you're gonna have a very jaded point of view of what a city is, because you don't know anyone. You're not meeting people to create that buzz and create that energy. At the same time, if you only show up for other people and you only get validated through these external resources or these external people, then you're also screwed, because then when you come back to your own sanctuary, when you come back to your own place, you have no peace of mind in your own thoughts. I think part of my success has been the balance of both. It's showing up for myself so I can show up for other people. It's that old saying, man, like if you don't love yourself, how can you love someone else? If you can't help yourself, how can you help someone else? And I believe that shit to my core. And it's why I've been able to develop this person I am for myself and all the people that follow me on social media.
What has been the best part throughout the year, man?
I think the best part has been connecting and collaborating with a lot of like-minded people and people that I looked up to for such a long time. I think that's been the best part. I used to look up to a lot of the guys that I've been able to now sit at the table with. Devin LeVake, Jimmy DeSico, Eric Liha, Aaron Alexander, Mark Bell, all of these guys that, like, when I was sitting at my mom's house 3 years ago, I would look at these guys, I'd look at their content, I would look at their entrepreneur journey. I'd be like, damn, I want to sit at the table with them. I want to talk with them. I want to ask how they got there and all those things. And I think the beautiful part about Austin is a lot of the people live here. And a lot of people are very accepting and open to collaborating and connecting with other humans. That's the special thing about this city, man. It's not only that there's a lot of like-minded individuals that live here, but the people that do live here, they want to give back their time. They want to give back value. They want to give back in some form or fashion. And a lot of it becomes just a conversation. The people here in this city is what make this city special. And I think that's been the best part of it, is that I live in a city that I want to come back to. When I go travel, I want to come back to this city. When I go to New York, when I go to LA, when I go to Atlanta, I am so excited to come back to Austin, Texas. And a lot of it is because the people here. And even more so than the people I just named, the people that I used to look up to, it's the everyday people as well. The people I interact with at coffee shops, at gyms, at run clubs, like the people in this city are super open-minded. They're curious. They're excited to learn new things and excited to push themselves outside of their comfort zone. And I'm just a human that's just like that. So for me, the best part about this city is that there's like-minded individuals that are pursuing and they're trying to grow and develop themselves. And it makes it very, very fun to live in a city like that.
And what are you most grateful for this part of your life? Not even just in this city, but this chapter of your life.
I think I'm most grateful for my inner peace and my perspective on the world. Even through the ups and downs that I've had through my social media journey and through building my brand and building a business, like, to your question earlier, like, there's been highs and lows. There's been opportunities where there's been a lot of love and admiration. At the same time, there's been hate and negativity. And I think the thing I'm most grateful for is that through all of that shit, I've been so clear with my own thoughts of who I am as a man, who I am as a person. And I have not allowed the external validation from both the good and the bad to change the framework I have internally. Even with the success, even with the hate, even with gaining more followers, gaining more money and all these things, like, who I am as a human has not changed. And I think that is the biggest thing I'm most proud of, and the thing I'm most grateful for. And where it comes is just from a place of understanding that I have so much more than other people in this world. And I think that's where so many people get this game twisted. People look at what they don't have, and that's why they come from this place of like, oh my God, I want this, I want that car, I want this thing, I want this. When in reality, if you just look around at all the blessings and all the things that we have right now to be grateful for, that's where that shit comes from. I think through it all, I'm just grateful for my perspective and how I view this world.
Are you staying in Austin? Are you gonna do a 100-mile race? Are you gonna do a triathlon? Like, what is next for Matt Troy?
I think what's next for me is I've been fortunate to recently close on a house in Austin, Texas. So I'm gonna be living in Austin. So I'm super excited to just plant my roots in this city. But in terms of like what's next when it comes to physical challenges or physical feats or business things, I'm just a person that's always gonna push the envelope. And it could be 100 miles. It could be running a faster marathon, or maybe it's getting into shorter events in the 5K, 10K, who freaking knows. I think for me, it's always about being curious and being open-minded and not saying no to anything. Like, there's very few things in life that I'm gonna be like, no, that's not for me, or I'm not gonna do that. Because I wanna just try as many things in this world as possible, and I wanna live with very little regret. So I think what's next for me is definitely the Boston Marathon. That's my next focus. In 2 months, we're gonna run Boston, which has been one of the most historic and memorable races for me, because the first racing experience I ever had was at the Boston Marathon, where I was just a spectator. And it was the first time I actually got to see a world major at that stage, at that size of an event, with legendary and historic athletes and spectators. It's a special environment, similar to New York City, but a lot of my focus and training will go towards the Boston Marathon in April 17th. Outside of that, there will be a lot more other stuff, but my next focus will be the Boston Marathon in April.
Who would you like to thank as far as this chapter in life too as well?
There's so many people I'd like to thank. I mean, you, first of all, me and Chris just being able to collab early on in my spot, early on in my time in Austin has significantly helped my career, not only in the content side, but obviously us just developing our friendship and relationship, whether it's as friends or as business partners. It's been an awesome journey. And all the other people that have been in support of me, whether it's been the brands I've worked with, whether it's been the people that have just been supporting me, or the people that have been following my journey, it's amazing to see how video content can be an inspiration to people around the world. I never thought that a video that I can make can help someone change their mindset around who they are as a person, or change their mindset around running a marathon or challenging themselves. There's too many people I can thank, honestly. And I think the biggest thing of it all is that I can't really do this stuff without all of you guys. The people behind the screen, the people that are editing the videos, the people that are supporting from wherever they live, my family, my parents, my sibling, like whoever it is, like there's so many people I can thank. I really just am super grateful and honored to sit where I sit now, and I want to continue to give value to my community and continue to share my journey and own my mistakes and own my success and all of those things in between. And I think the biggest thing for me is like I want to continue to be authentic and continue to show my truth, and through it all, bring you guys along this journey. Like I'm a human. I'm gonna make mistakes. I'm gonna have successes. I'm gonna have all of those things in between. And I just want to portray that for all of you guys, to show you that whoever you are in this world, like you can be exactly where I sit. A couple years ago, I was just like everyone. I'm still a fucking human. Like there's nothing that makes me different. Like I put my pants on just like everyone else does. Really what my message is that I want people to maximize themselves. And if you want to chase after a dream or passion, then go do it. Like what's stopping you from chasing your dream? 2-3 years ago, I was sitting at my mom's dining room table, just starting my content journey, not knowing what the hell I was doing. And now I sit here and it's an awesome privilege to sit where I sit. But anyone can do this shit, man. Anyone can do this.